Oh, hey, you're shaving too? Fuck, why you push so hard? Don't look at me like that. Luckily, I did not cut myself shaving like Mac. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It is Carter Scotland Allen here, and today we are taking a look at the original Predator from 1987, directed by John McTiernan, and obviously starring the great Arnold Schwarzenegger! Before we get started, if you like this video, please be sure to like and subscribe. Let me know what you guys would like to see in future videos down in the comments below. But with that being said, I will be reviewing every single Predator film, including the Alien vs. Predator films, up until the release of Prey, the upcoming Hulu Original Predator film that I am so extremely excited for. Let's not waste any more time though and talk about the OG Predator. A team of commandos on a mission in Central American jungle find themselves hunted by an extraterrestrial warrior. So starting with the directing of this film, this was directed by John McTiernan, and this is his second feature film directly after the release of Nomads coming out in 1986. With Predator, John McTiernan managed to handle casting mix-ups, with Jean-Claude Van Damme having to drop out of the role of the actual Predator himself, as well as just creating one of the best action films of all time, and doing so, shooting it in real jungles. This film delivers pure action, buddy romances, eerie survival tactics, as well as just bloody fun. This film is easily one of my favorite action sci-fi films, if not my favorite. As for the cast and the character tropes are very overdone for today's standards, but for then are really clever, and it all comes down to the line delivery. Every single character in this film delivers their lines the way they need to make it an engaging experience and bringing each of these characters to life in a really unique way. Everybody remembers Mac, everybody remembers Jesse and or Blaine, I mean, but it's just everybody in this film has a moment to shine is what I'm saying, and this cast and characters are all pretty fantastic, especially for an action film, which most commonly known not to have the most compelling characters. It's nice to get a glimpse into each of these characters' lives or mindset before they all get killed and get their spines ripped out. As for the story overall is extremely simple, but that's why this film works. It just relies on the environment, the suspension building, the action. It is just a pure thrill ride. The film relies in the first half on that believability of the crew believing in their mission and believing what's going on, and then they go down there, they just massacre all these people, they save one person, which is that doctor who has seen the Predator, and it just all plays out so perfectly. The pacing is just fantastic. You essentially watch this crew walk into a trap multiple times by doing a mission that they weren't expecting to do and then being hunted by this weird, crazy alien. Now moving on to the cinematography. The visuals in the film overall aren't fantastic from a camera angle perspective. You know, it didn't move cinema forward visually like Star Wars did, for example. But that doesn't take anything away. It did move, practical effects forward. I definitely think that there's so much inspiration from this film on creature design, and I love that and totally respect this film for that reason. And as for the kills, they're all very visually fun to see, especially for the 80s. You could see that, some of the whole military scene of the guys just getting shot, it's just a bunch of squibs and shaken, but it's fine. It's fun. It's a great 80s action film and one of my favorite action films of all time, even if some of the editing might not be perfect. As for the score of this film, we have the great Alan Silvestri, who gave us a fantastic score for this film, bringing the super sci-fi nature of the Predator to the jungle while still having those classic action style tones that remain extremely memorable today. In my opinion, the Predator score is one of the most underrated action scores of all time, as well as just one of the most underrated scores in general. Now moving on to the final thoughts. So overall, Predator is a fantastic film. It is one of my favorite films of all time. It is easily in my top 100. It is one of my favorite action films of all time and might be my favorite Arnold film. I haven't seen the Terminator franchise in a very long time, so I will have to go back and review those films. But as of now, I think Predator and Commando are like my top two Arnold films. But with that being said, I do have to say I think that this film rivals Aliens for one of the best action sci-fi films of all time. I know many of you would disagree with that, but I just love how simple this film is. And adding on to that note, even if I don't necessarily like this film as much as Aliens in the long run, I do have to say I 100% think that the Predator design is a better creature design than the Xenomorph. The Predator manages to be badass and terrifying and also disgusting all at once, which, yes, I know you could absolutely say about the Xenomorph, but in my opinion, I do think that the Predator is a cooler creature. I said it earlier, but the kills in this original film are fantastic, and even though the other films later on in the franchise have more gratuitous kills and just more kills in general, I do think that this film still is the best when it comes to the kills and just the way that everything does play out. The final battle is fantastic, and I do think it's one of the more clever battles in action film history, considering you don't have too many guys covering themselves in mud to not be seen by an alien creature. That's just not something you see often, and so it really is a cool thing to watch and to rewatch. Overall, Predator is a fantastic film, one of my favorite films of all time, and I can't wait to see the new film, Prey. But with that being said, we are done with one Predator review, the original, and we have 5 more. We have the Predator 2, Alien vs. Predator, and Alien vs. Predator Requiem, as well as Predators, The Predator. I think that's it. I think we got it. But thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Carter Scotland Allen, and I will see you guys in my next Predator review. Peace.